China just agreed to resume shipping critical rare earth minerals to America after months of trade wars that nearly shut down our car factories and defense contractors. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you about this deal and why every American should be paying attention. For weeks, Ford could not make their Explorer SUVs. Defense contractors couldn't build precision-guided missiles. Electric vehicle production lines sat idle. Why? Because China controls nearly 100% of the world's supply of 7 critical rare earth elements that power everything from your smartphone to our military's most advanced weapons systems. This isn't just another trade dispute. This is about America's industrial survival. Back in April, China played its most powerful economic card against America. It imposed strict export controls on rare earth elements like dysprosium, terbium, and samarium, minerals you've probably never heard of, but that are absolutely essential for high-tech manufacturing. For the past 50 years, China has been building the ultimate economic weapon. While America was busy with other things, Beijing poured trillions into controlling rare earth elements. Obscure metals that are absolutely essential for everything from smartphones to F-35 fighter jets. The numbers are staggering. China now controls 70% of global rare earth mining and a crushing 90% of processing. They didn't achieve this dominance by accident. As Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping reportedly said back in 1992, the Middle East has oil, China has rare earths. Beijing deliberately kept prices artificially low for decades to bankrupt foreign competitors, then systematically bought up mines and processing facilities worldwide. They created PhD programs dedicated specifically to rare earth research, while America largely ignored the sector. When President Trump responded with tariffs, China immediately retaliated by choking off rare earth exports to America. The standoff escalated quickly. Within weeks, American automakers were scrambling for alternative suppliers. Ford had to halt production at their Chicago plant. Multiple defense contractors reported supply chain disruptions that threatened critical military programs. China had weaponized their rare earth monopoly, and it was working. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of capitulating to Beijing's economic blackmail, the Trump administration coordinated a response involving the Departments of State, Commerce, Interior, and Defense. They brought in industry experts to explore alternatives and began fast-tracking permits for American rare earth mining projects. The negotiations that followed revealed the true nature of what one economist called China's weaponized negotiation strategy. In Geneva, Beijing offered to resume rare earth exports if America slashed tariffs from 145% to just 30%. When shipments still didn't materialize after weeks of delays, Trump escalated with restrictions on Chinese graduate students and chip design software. Then came the London talks in June, followed by what appears to be a final agreement. China's Commerce Ministry pledged to review and approve applications for the export of eligible controlled items in accordance with the law. Diplomatic speak for we'll start shipping again. This isn't just about rare earths. It's about breaking decades of American dependence on Chinese supply chains for critical materials. Companies like Neocorp are now racing to build domestic rare earth processing capabilities that could make America self-sufficient in these strategic minerals within just a few years. The deal also exposes a fundamental weakness in China's position. Despite their current monopoly, China increasingly relies on imported rare earth ore from places like Myanmar, where civil conflict and natural disasters have disrupted supplies. Beijing's own domestic mining operations face tighter environmental regulations and declining ore quality after decades of intensive extraction. What does this mean for ordinary Americans? In the short term, it prevents the supply chain crisis that was starting to impact everything from car prices to national security. In the long term, it marks a turning point toward rebuilding American industrial independence in critical sectors. The mainstream media wants to frame this as just another trade negotiation, but it's really about something much bigger. Whether America will remain dependent on an increasingly hostile foreign power for the materials that power our modern economy, or whether we'll rebuild the domestic capabilities we never should have outsourced in the first place. Speaking of rebuilding American strength, I've spent months carefully researching and analyzing the stocks that I personally trust and invest in, companies that I believe are positioned to benefit from America's economic resurgence and the major technological shifts happening right now. This isn't about making quick trades or chasing hot tips. It's about positioning yourself in companies with strong fundamentals and long-term growth potential, the same way I've positioned my own portfolio. The link is in the description if you want to see the same research that guides my personal investment decisions. Now, back to this rare earth deal. What happens next will be crucial. China's promises should be taken with a grain of salt. They've used delays and bureaucratic hurdles before to maintain leverage while appearing to comply with agreements. The real test will be whether actual shipments resume quickly and whether Beijing tries to use its rolling 6-month export licenses to maintain ongoing pressure. For America, this crisis has been a wake-up call about the dangers of supply chain dependence on geopolitical rivals. The Trump administration's fast-tracking of domestic mining permits and the growing investor interest in American rare earth projects suggest we're finally serious about rebuilding industrial resilience. This rare earth standoff may be temporarily resolved, but it's really just the opening round of a much larger economic competition between America and China. The question isn't whether there will be more trade disputes, it's whether America will use episodes like this to rebuild the industrial strength we'll need to win the larger contest. The choice is clear. Remain dependent on China for critical materials and accept the economic vulnerability that comes with it. Or invest in rebuilding American industrial capabilities that can power our economy and protect our national security for decades to come. What do you think? Should America prioritize short-term trade deals with China or focus on building long-term industrial independence? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more analysis of the developments that really matter.